Hello, Jay. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Doing good, Elijah. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite fine, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you, Jay. And oftentimes,
No,
Jay,
thank you.
yeah, I love to thank my guest for two things, and I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Jay, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest it in yourself. And oftentimes, Jay, I
Mm,
love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Jay, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because mango trees got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Jay, just recently I was on that same road, and this time
mm,
around, it was amazing, I tell you. The tree caught my attention
mm.
pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it. Beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Jay. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. I was so excited. I tell you, here is my point. Yeah, the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Jay that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request for me to be on the show because I was attracted to the beautiful stuff that you're doing, your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, how you're offering your solutions, Jay. These stuffs are amazing. And just before I sent you that request, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Jay is doing, and not only me now, but even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Jay. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Elijah. Thank you for creating this space to have these beautiful conversations.
Awesome, Jay. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on
Mhm.
the show today for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Jay, I believe it takes the
Mm,
application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, Jay, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Jay on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Jay, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of
it is.
information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Jay, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Jay, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Jay got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Jay, over to you.
Yeah, beautiful. So I've got a really vast background. My background is actually in events and PR. I worked on some really big projects, and then I had my own PR and social media agency. And there was a time in my life where I became a mum and I actually had a car accident. And I had 5 car accidents within that 12 months, just little ones. Five. Yeah, it was like just little ones. Like it was one time I was at a car park in the airport and I backed into a Bentley and it was just like all this crazy stuff that was going on. And I just said, and I sat back and I just said, this is just isn't who I wanted to be. And I remember my son, who was 3 years old at the time, he would go to his grandparents over me, because I wasn't a present mum at the start, because I was just always working and always on edge, and that's the PR lifestyle. And so then I started studying to become a integrative nutrition and holistic health coach. I knew that I needed to start doing work on myself. Like, I'd done work for 20 years, but I needed to go a lot deeper. And so I stopped working in that PR industry, and I just started working on myself. And then in 2019, 2020, separated, my son started school, and it was COVID all at the same time. And he was not okay. He was throwing bins around the house, running up the street. His emotions were so well beyond anything I could support at the time. Even though I'd done my own work with breath work, meditation, and even nutrition's massive for me, nothing was hitting the sides with him, because it wasn't a language that kids understand. You know, we did a lot of Cosmic Kids, which is a kids yoga online. It's great if you've got children and you want to do some meditation and yoga. But we needed something that spoke to him in his language. So what I did was I got him to start drawing circles. And I would say, what's the feeling that you're feeling now, darling? Like, what is it? I know that you can't express how you're feeling because you're only 5 years old, and we're still learning about our emotions, even though we read heaps of books. And he would put the face in the circles of what he was feeling. And that was his way to be able to start communicating how he was feeling at the time, because he had all this big stuff going on. And that would come out as anger, frustration. And so then when he put the circles in, I would say, so can you tell me a little bit more about why you're feeling this way? And we'd really break it down. Like, children need things to be broken right down. And so often it would be sad, disappointed, angry. And so then we worked out, okay, let's use some colors to be able to associate that with the emotion of your feeling. And here's all the colors. Let's just use some art to be able to get it out of his body. And that seemed to be working really well for him. There was still lots of big stuff. We were selling a house at the time during COVID. We moved to Torquay, which is in Victoria. It's a surfing capital. So we needed to be near the beach to heal our souls. You know, we had a lot of stuff going on. And then during COVID, I saw that kids couldn't gain access to psychologists. There was a 6 to 12 month wait. And so that just absolutely broke me. With everything I was doing with my own son and the success that I was having with him, I knew that I could be of service to other families and other children. So I started studying. I'm a family and child counsellor, art therapist. I've studied play therapy, and I'm a kids yoga teacher. So I had my private practice in Torquay for 4 years, and I really learnt the pain points that children and parents were facing, and how to connect to kids in a language that they understand. And that was really through art, and also through play. My apologies.
Sorry.
I'm still a little bit sick. I'm just trying to work out where the mute button is, just in case. Okay, it's there.
Sorry.
And so then it was, about healing children and families. And now we've built Happy Souls Kids, which is well beyond a practice. And now it is an app that we're building to be able to support children and families globally with all of the work that I've done as a therapist. So teaching the children again in their own language, which is gamification. So that's kind of a brief, very long version of kind of how I got to where I am, Elijah. And, you know, it's through a lot of pain that I found my purpose.
Through a lot of pain, that's how you found your purpose. I got that. And it's so beautiful, the work you're doing. You see, you mentioned the application that you built to help kids and parents and families globally. That's a beautiful one, because not many people think that way. Okay, I've got a solution. Now let me make use of it by helping people globally. Not many people think that way. So I truly appreciate you, Jay. And I've got some questions, okay? Are you ready for me?
Yeah.
All
Shoot,
right.
fire away.
Yeah. So I'm curious about this part. All right. How do you manage raising your son while building a startup?
Mm-hmm. It's a very long question. It's a very hard question to answer. There was definitely a time in my life, as I said earlier, when I started, when I was working in PR, that the connection to my son is the most important thing that I have in this world. And so I have had times where my work has outweighed his connection. And that's when things turn pear-shaped, when things don't work. His behavior changes, he starts acting up a little bit. He's just craving my love and attention. And if I'm building a platform to be able to build the connection within a parent and child, that's my existence of why I'm here. I need to practice what I preach. So I have really open communications with my son, and we really have a conversation around it of like, how are you feeling? What can I do to be a better mum? What are you finding hard? What are you finding that we want to connect more? And there was a time where he said to me, I don't like it that you're working on the weekends. And I said, okay. So we came to a conclusion of, if you're in bed by 8:30, I'll have like an hour to do work before I go to bed, and then I won't have to work on the weekends. So we compromise, just like you do in a relationship or family dynamic. We compromise in our connection because it's so incredibly important to put him first. And then Elijah, I invited him into the business. So rather than, if he would get out of bed and I'd still be working at nighttime, or even in the morning, I'm a morning person for sure. Like, I would say, hey, do you want to come and have a look at what I'm doing? Like, come and have a look. And then we talked about it, and he was like, well, do I get, because we watch Shark Tank together. I don't know if you have it in the States, but you do actually. And so we watched Shark Tank together, and he started his own 3D printing business, and he was asking me about equity. He's like, well, do I get equity into your business, Mum? He's 10 years old and he knows what equity is. It's very cool. And he's like, well, am I a co-founder? And I'm like, well, I guess, yeah, mate, you are. Like, you're an unofficial co-founder because he's only 10, so he doesn't have that business. But, it's rather than kind of just telling him to go away, which is what we do as parents, like, I'm working. I invited him into the conversations. And so we're building something that relates back to children in a way that they understand. So I think that has been an absolute game changer for us, and also teaching him about having his own business. We go to markets and sell a lot of his products, and he has a website that he sells things from as well. So it's really ensuring that we teach our kids about business so they understand why business is so important to us. And the same thing with money. It's teaching them from a small age and a young age the value of money and how hard you have to work for things. And so then they start to understand, oh, it's not that my mom wants to not hang out with me. It's just that she's got bills to pay. And so, yeah, it's really is having open communication. It's not easy. It's tough, because especially with inflation around the world, everyone's working so hard, and the connection with the children is probably the first thing to go. And it's actually the first thing that we should put on our list rather than the last.
Amazing. It's not easy. It is hard, but yet you did it. Right.
Yeah,
I tell
continue to
you,
do it.
and I tell you, this is a very important conversation, because I wish my mom knew all of these things, you see. Maybe it would have been
Yeah.
very different. So that's why I'm glad that you're making use of your solution to help others. Now, some folks now will benefit from this greatly. Just the way your son is going to grow up to be a wonderful dad, you see, because he's got a beautiful mom who understands these things. So I appreciate you, and what you're doing is very impactful. So, what about this one? Because some parents now, they've got some kids who they have these big emotions, and it seems like nothing is working. So what do you do when a child is having big emotions and it seems like nothing is working?
It's always a tough question, this one, because it's a tough answer for people to hear. First
Hmm.
of all, you have to become in touch with your emotions. You have to, as a parent, be able to handle your own stuff, because the more that you can accept and love every part of you, and that means the emotions that we don't always love, the anger, the frustration, the jealousy, the disappointment, all of those big emotions that we feel, it's really important to love everything about you. It's important to accept that every emotion, including depression, anxiety, everything has a place in your body. And the more that as a parent you can accept that within yourself, then the more that you can accept it within your kids. So when they're having those big emotional tantrums or meltdowns, you can have more compassion and love and just realize that it's just like a wave. Emotions come and they go, but they need that space to be able to release out of their body. Emotions are coming up because they want to come out. So it's really important that we recognize that, and we recognize that sometimes kids just need to be seen and valued and heard and listened to. They just want somebody to be able to have that space to go, I'm having a really bad day and I'm angry and I want to get it out of my body, but I'm too young to understand how. So I just need somebody to be able to support me through that. And if we look at emotions from a different perspective, that really helps us to understand that they all have their place. We're not always going to be happy. We're going to be frustrated and disappointed and angry and emotional, and all of these things are completely okay. All of these feelings that we feel in our body is completely okay. But yeah, the more compassion and empathy that we have as a parent for ourselves, the more that we can hold that space for our kids. And the how to, which is really important in this conversation, is to just let the moments move past. Like, we have lots of different elements of mindfulness and self-regulation in practice that I'll use. Like, I was called the slime lady in practice because I like to make a lot of slime with kids, because slime, even though parents hate it, is such a great self-regulation tool. A sand tray is a really great self-regulation tool. Even getting a punching bag or a pillow, or doing wrestling before bed and helping kids feel that empowerment of winning. And all of these things are wonderful. But if your child is dysregulated and they are having those tantrum moments, they can't hear you. They're on a different planet. So it's not the time to say, just take a deep breath, just take a deep breath. Like, imagine somebody saying to you, calm down when you're angry. Like, it's the worst thing that you can possibly to say to someone. So just let it move through their body. Just say, I am right here with you. I've got you and your big feelings and emotions. And have that unconditional love of whatever you're feeling is completely okay. I'm a safe person for you to be able to feel it. And that's what I've done with my own son. So he knows that no matter how he's feeling, I'm not going to judge him. I'm going to love him through it. I'm going to accept him through it, because it's something that's releasing from his body because it needs to.
Amazing. See, it's beautiful because you are living what you're preaching, and it's amazing. I love that. And this is a very educating conversation. Thank you so very much. So we have two more to go, okay? There is this one I'm very curious about. What is play therapy?
Yep. So if we go to a psychologist or if we go to a counselor, we understand how we're feeling in our body, so we're able to express those feelings, and it's harder for others than it is for others. So some people can express themselves really, really well, and some people can't. When I was about 20 years ago, I saw a meditation teacher, and meditation was not socially acceptable back then. So I was drinking a lot, masking all of my problems with alcohol, and she just got me to draw. She got me to draw and draw and draw with color. And it didn't matter. She just said, intuitively, just trust yourself. Just really trust yourself for what colors are coming up to you, what patterns are coming up for you. And that's how I started to express my feelings. Now, kids can't express themselves. So if you say to a child, how was your day? They say, good. And if you say, okay, cool, great conversation. Kids don't know how they're feeling. So if you say, how was your day? They're not going to say, oh, I had a really hard day because of blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Because they don't actually know what an emotion is. They're not taught what emotions are. We expect kids to just understand what emotion that they're feeling, but they've never actually been instructed and helped to connect the feeling to the emotion. So first of all, we need to do that work with kids. But the second part is that play is a child's language. That is a language that they understand. So rather than saying, oh, this is really frustrating for me, using modalities to help them regulate through their body and help them express how they're feeling, like using a doll's house, which is something we use a lot in practice, where we have like little little toy things that they can go to, and they often reenact what's happening in their life through play. So if you really listen into what children are saying, like they're saying things in a way that means something intuitively to them. So as therapists, we are trained to be able to interpretate their language of play, and help them release whatever's happening in their body. It doesn't need to be a big release of those big light bulb moments of, oh, this is what's going on. It's just through that element of play that they release that. Could be through breath work, like it could be bubbles, it could be with a doll's house, it could be through play in that area, it could be through karaoke. There's many different elements for children to express and help them feel connected to themselves, outside of the actual dynamic of talkability. And it comes in through play. Kids know what they need to heal. They know exactly what they need to heal. It's just that we as parents often stop that. And so in the therapist perspective, they're given that time to have full control of the session and to choose what they need to do to be able to release through their own window of tolerance what they need in their body to release.
Amazing, Jay. I never knew that. And that's a great approach. And thank you so very much for sharing that with us. So finally, for folks who like to reach out to you or even ask you questions, and how can that be possible? And secondly, any final thought for the audience?
Parenting is not easy. Parenting is challenging, and our kids here are to bring up every element of us that needs to be healed, and they are our greatest teachers if we allow them to be, if we allow them space rather than having that hierarchy of I'm the parent, you're the child. If you allow your child to bring up stuff within you, you have the greatest opportunity to heal yourself and to build a connection with somebody that just loves and adores you better than any other part of your life. So I just want to say that first of all, parenting's tough. You'll get triggered a lot.
I tell you.
And that's their job, that's their job, Eliza. Their job is to trigger us. So, do you have kids, Elijah?
Not yet, but I can relate so well. I can relate so well because I'm so used to having kids around.
Yeah, they do. They do, and so just have some compassion and love. It's like that time where you have the milk in the kitchen and you pour the milk all over the ground and you get so frustrated with yourself. Damn it, damn! And then a child will do it 5 minutes later with a toy, and you're like, stop being so mean to yourself. Well, why are you being so mean? It's like, actually, they're just mirroring the behavior that you taught them 5 minutes ago. So just being mindful of the mirrored behavior that we do as parents. But yeah, my business is called Happy Souls Kids. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Happy Souls Kids, and my personal one is Jacintha Field. It's a bit of a tongue twister, my name, Jacintha. It's like Samantha and Jacinta put together, JACINTHAFIELD. So I'm also on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, etc. And we're in the middle of building a beta testing app at the moment. So we've got a lot of beta testers that are testing it and giving us feedback. So if that's something you want to do, I'm not sure when this is going to come out, but just send me an email to hello@happysoulskids.com. And yeah, I'd love to connect.
Beautiful, Jay. That's a beautiful one. So that's going to be the end of the show. Thank you so very much for coming. Thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Elisha. Beautiful. Sending lots of love to you.